Ah, Summertime and it's Friday night, and I'm going over all of the social media that I usually, hook into. And what I notice is that the posts that are present are missing the point. They're missing the point. They're missing the point of who's in control. They're missing the point of accountability and who has really caused is causing injury and harm and suffering. They're missing the point about the effects of propaganda on children, the effects of the Common Core curriculum on our children. The younger generation is unable to articulate problems the way we, the elders, learned how to articulate. What is politically correct misses the point of where society and where politics and where the churches and where the fights and the disputes and the conflicts are leading. All right. I have spent many hours talking to my friends about the fact that it is treaty law and maritime admiralty law that has overturned laws against harm, slavery, and suffering that are in control of human destiny. And this is why we are slaves to debt, slaves to collections. Okay. This is why we are slaves to marketing. This is why we are slaves to policies that silence us, because the law is broken. The law is used as a tool for profiteering by people who belong to the Bar Association in the City of London. Okay. And they are going to continue to exploit their position and their advantages and their specific technical knowledge to wring money out of us until we bring that to a halt. All right. We are going to continue to be exploited by the medical profiteering profession, demanding that we accept therapies and drugs and vaccines that we know are personally dangerous because they have the deep pockets to bribe legislators to demand that we accept their manipulations. We are going to continue to be subject to the vice and crimes of the New World Order, because the New World Order stands for an empire in which porn, pedophilia, pederasty, prostitution, sex trafficking of children, human experimentation, drug running, gun running, and serial wars are all just business. Our Constitution, our common laws against harm are trash in their view. And what they are purveying and showing to us as the new technological future, transhumanism, and no accountability for the preference of pleasures that erode and demean and discount humanness. Okay, that's all in our face. I just got slapped by Facebook because I expressed the belief that I would like to keep my grandchildren out of the way of a lot of the sensationalist crap that they are having to condone, endure, and deal with. All right. And I have 8 or 10 gigabytes of positive, decent content that I have created and contributed to Facebook. And if they want to be so petty as to tell me I don't have a right to my own opinion about the amoral atmosphere in which our family bloodlines are just made fun of endlessly, if they don't want to respect the fact that families are important to families, if they don't want to respect the fact that cultures are important to cultures and nations are important to nations and ethics are important to people who care about other people, if they can't respect that, well, I guess I can just remove 10 gigabytes of positive content and tell them goodbye, because I'm not agreeing that I have no right to say to them, I don't want that crap in my house. I don't want porn in my house, okay? I don't want drugs in my house. I don't want the medical profession dealing out these visits and procedures and tests and prescriptions that cause me more problems than they fix. You know, I don't need them. God and I do okay without all of that. And it's my feeling that many of us have these feelings of being able to rely and trust on biology. We rely and trust on the concept of reasoned discourse and the laws of cause and effect. If you do a good deed, you ought to get a good outcome. And if you cause harm, you ought to be disrupted and corrected. All right. This is common sense, but common sense is not being permitted by social media because they prefer political correctness and the ideology and propaganda of cultural Marxism. And cultural Marxism, what does it do? It just tears everything down. Cultural Marxism doesn't espouse. Now, if I were a liberal, I would be talking about consensus methodologies, conflict analysis and resolution, mediation, arbitration, conciliation, the ways that reasonable people get together and resolve large-scale problems. But is that what liberals are doing today? No. Liberals are into identity. Identity, what? Identity slander, identity libel. If you have a certain opinion about anything, you become a narcissist with a label. You're a racist, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a Jesus freak, you're a this or you're that. That's the stance of social media, that those of us who grew up perceiving the laws of cause and effect have something wrong with us and we need to be silenced. Okay. And so this is my thought for a Friday night. Tomorrow I may or may not be doing the People's Internet Radio out of Dublin, Ireland. It depends on whether my producer has his computer working or not. And in the meantime, I'm working on a presentation about the practices, and the doctrine of hating identities because they don't think right. Okay? People don't think right, and therefore they deserve to be hated. This is the politically correct doctrine today. You know, just as in the Inquisition, if you didn't believe in the perfectly correct concept of the Trinity, you could be taken out and burned at the stake. And nowadays, if you don't believe in the politically correct version of gender dogma, you can be humiliated and so on and so forth. You can be taken out. And that's, of course, perfectly ridiculous. That's perfectly ridiculous. We need to teach our children um, common law, thrift, hygiene, nutrition, and the skills that they will need to make successful adult lives. And all of the political indoctrination that comes with the Common Core curriculum must be set aside. Our children must know how to write cursive legibly. They must know how to calculate, add, subtract, multiply, divide, and do square roots just with a piece of paper and a pencil, as children are being taught in China and in Japan. You know, the kids in the other nations are not being mind raped the way ours are. And this is what I need and want to bring forward, that we are impoverishing future generations by what the media and academia are doing. Please let us stop that. It is now, the sun is down, and it's Sabbath, it's Shabbat, and let's take some time to think things through. And maybe tomorrow we'll find that reasons and rationality can once again obtain in our society. And this has been Emily, and thank you so much for coming by, and have a great weekend. Bye.